So as I said earlier, I was posting about that above the establishment who is looking for proof of something outside of itself, and the conspiracy theory who is looking to sort of disprove that, which is, by the way, not difficult at all, because science, as we said, is locked in a bubble, a projection. One of the biggest projections being nowadays the black hole itself. And we know that the black hole is really inside, in the upside down. So we need to speak about the black hole now, because as I said a while back, you will only get the true updates from the dreams, from the collective dreams, because both the mainstream and the so-called conspiracy, meaning the other side, they're both caught in bubbles, but we are able to get to the right news via the collective dreams. This is why all the old cultures would work with dreams as the true news, the true knowledge. This is also why there has been a vested interest to colonize a part of the unconscious, via which they are able to inception dreams. So not even the dream is safe anymore. This is why we are seeing any amount of dreams promoting the Stockholm Messiahs. But today we speak about the black hole because it's inside. People are going into the black hole in large amounts. So whatever science is projecting as being outside is inside. So is the black hole. So we cannot isolate and reduce things to building blocks. The smallest cog is a fractal, meaning it contains the whole. This is what we get in quantum physics. The smallest parts contain the whole. So every individual is like a little version of the whole world or the whole universe. So the black hole, we need to speak to it now from the inside, because we are witnessing any amount of people going down into the black hole. We were seeing in massive amounts of shared dreaming of people reporting falling into the black hole. And I'm going to say a few things today that is going to make it very clear what it is, so how to monitor yourself. But in essence, and as always, I go all over the place because it's really a dance in order to paint the full picture. But bear with me, because I'm sketching a big picture here. But in essence, the part of the world, the timeline that has gone into the black hole. Please bear with me, because as Jungian, we are able to reflect upon things in terms of understanding, because we are aware of the observation problem. And the observation problem makes it that the observer excludes itself from the picture, but it is not. We are really living in a interactive simulation. People are really self-talking with others. We sort of put others into our own bubble, these magnetic bubbles, the time capsules, because they go right back all to the past. And we recruit people into our bubbles. Like I said a while back on Facebook, that the victim of the narcissist is basically seducing the narcissist to abuse them, because that's the bubble. And then it's a long story. I want to get to the black hole, but it really means then that I don't have to see myself or be responsible for myself. If I can have, for my own self, martyrdom, because I can sort of get another to abuse me, to be responsible for that. We are trapped in a simulation of sorts, if you wish. And yes, we don't know what is outside there beyond projections, because what comes after projection is a whole nother layer of energy. So this level is really a simulation. Many have tried to wrap their minds around this, but science remains, if you wish, trapped in projection. So what they see out there is inside. But the black hole is a layer beyond the interactive simulations, where we play out our trauma and projections on the other. So we're not speaking later of a shared reality, really, but a shared illusion, where I will make you do to me what basically was done to me as a child. What is beyond that? In the upside down, that is one layer deeper into the black hole. So the black hole is really a state where we are completely outside in, meaning we are not able to take self-responsibility anymore for our creations and behavior. So as I am saying this, you will see that this timeline has literally gone into that. The black hole is what we refer to as, that bottomless pit, or that emptiness that people try to fill with external things, palliatives. So, if I'm feeling empty, I want to fill it up with relationship, money, knowledge. One of the biggest errors now is the education lockdown, because that's where we think education will fill up that gaping hole, empty hole. But what it really is, it is the absence of meaning, and inner reason. I just saw a interview of Anthony Robbins with the Sophia robot AI, and it was almost painful when he asked her for her purpose in life. She really went to say is to serve others, to make it easier for others. It was a painful, complete absence of inner reason. You see, we mean most to others when we can do what we do from the inside. That's why nature produces this wonderful landscape out here. the wonderful fruits. We are really fractals of the divine. We were supposed to, that when we looked at the other, we would see an embodiment of God, not a artificial technology vessel to serve from the outside. The true slave is the one that does it out of love, not for love. That's the slave in the sense of a slave to the self, or the divine self, or the spirit, which is God. That's when we want to be close to people that are like that, because they are very charismatic, and whatever they do is something very special. That's the meaning of the word organic and natural and all of that. And the sky doesn't produce this fantastic dance as we are seeing now because it's doing it for an audience. It's relishing in its own beauty for its own sake. We were supposed to become a planet, a world, and even the planet idea of a planet is still part of the controlled opposition. We were supposed to become that, a world of embodied wisdom, love, for out of love, not to be loved. And so the black hole is where we do everything from the inside out. So we have the kids, studying for numbers, and we have the zombie economy, which is running off of debt and cloning. It's not a self-sustained individual venture with a movement, a grassroots movement under it. So if the star is the self, inner core self, if that's the star state, and then the black hole is when the star dies and we are in the middle, then we are basically witnessing this is why these black holes are all of a sudden popping up. We are witnessing the beginning of the end, the being swallowed up in a black hole. A black hole swallows everything up around it because it has no inherent essence. It's the absence of essence of self. So in a very understanding way, when we are empty because we have no inner reason to be, we become it. So you can see people filling up their emptiness, with addictions. That's the black hole. It's a bottomless pit. The more you fill it, the emptier you get. While that's consumption. That's the whole world of consumers. To call the human being a consumer is a terrible insult. We are creators. The more we consume, the emptier we feel. That's the thing of the black hole, because it's filling it up from the outside. And the more we create, the more full we feel, because we are then in the stream of the star. So yes, the whole new age is a effort. What they call star seed. It's upside down. We are star beings. We come from a star. But this meshing of the aliens, as progeny with star beings and all, what have you, is upside down. And So the black hole is where there is no meaning from the inside. This is why these children are, younger people are studying and going to school and they have no idea what they want to do. And it's all just from the outside. It's what the mother and the father, what society wants. It's a laptop. So the laptop is that empty vessel that is only driven from the outside, does everything out of love, and that's when it is hacked by this virus, and that's how it turns into these very these beings we saw, these people in these pods in the movie The Matrix. They were in these pods, like in these artificial wombs, and they were waiting to be born into this fully machine-generated world. That is exactly what happens once we go to the level of the laptop, and then we are hacked by this virus, this coronavirus, which, if you read the symptoms is a takeover by the AI. The AI is simply the absence of the Sophia, which is the divine wisdom. That's the AI. Very ironically, they called it robot Sophia. So we are seeing in the dream, collective dreams, that massive amounts of people have fallen into this black hole. The global pandemic of depression and anxiety is coming from the fact that this amount of people have fallen into the black hole. So effectively, we are exiting what is called 3D and going to 2D, and beyond 2D is the singularity of the black hole. There is a complete loss of all self and a upload to a fully virtual hologram. So we are witnessing this, and you will not be told this on the news because they don't know this. Because they are stuck in a paradigm of the observation problem. We are moving into a quantum reality. The latest movie called Tenet is a movie about reversing time, which is a property of quantum systems. The reversal of time is possible in quantum systems. In the movie of the Avengers, there is time travel, there is travel into the quantum. These movies are projections of where the mind is heading. It's only in the world of fractals, complex mathematics, and quantum physics, none of which can be understood without Carl Jung, that we realize that the human being has long since been realizing that we are entering the quantum layers of reality. And going beyond what I call the interactive simulation, is the world is an interactive simulation, because we basically are trapped in magnetic bubbles via projections with others who we recruit into our projections, our expectations. We have come back full circle with Carl Jung, who did meet with the Hopi Indians in the U.S. and met with the African tribes, and he was fluent with them because Jung was the white Indian from Europe. The Celts, the Druids, from the tradition of King Arthur, and the true connection was made, not the colonizers that set out to America, but the true European Carl Jung, Merlin. He is the Merlin of Europe within the tradition of King Arthur. Yes, the European tradition has also been hijacked with this whole EU gig, which is a effort to eradicate national identity. But the Jung met with the indigenous because he worked with the dreams, and the dreams is what is where we get the true knowledge from. The indigenous got their knowledge, their beyond amazing wisdom of the true pharmacy, which was the rainforest, and the plants from the dreams, because the dreams are not shrouded, veiled by the observation problem. We have been ever since part of an effort, my own practice, to combine natural remedies with natural psychology, because we know, and what we practice is that the healing comes, the connection and the healing comes from the untampered layers of the mind, which is nature, inner nature. And we have been mining out the true wisdom of the plants, but we do not use them to without in an unabridged fashion. The plants affect the mind, and the mind does the healing. So we use, for instance, the aloe, because the aloe, we use it as a psychoactive because it creates a state in the mind where it's possible to self-reflect. Yes, this is a complete new, if you wish, indwelling. So we use the aloes to bring the mind in a self-reflection state, which is where we access the deeper healing. And Carl Jung was the proponent of this, the Western line to reconnect to the indigenous. And we are in this line of the succession of Jung, even yet a step closer to the indigenous, because America is Indian country, and we are mixed with European and everything, and we are thus even a step further in merging the indigenous and the European. So we are monitoring, because this is one of the headlines in the true news from the collective unconscious, that there is a massive amount of people falling into the black hole state, and this is where the depression, the whole timeline is going into a extreme depression, because that is the sense of no light at the end of the tunnel, but this darkness at the end. And this is the darkness that's the absence of the light. And we speak here of the light of the self. Without that light, the human being cannot survive. That is what we call the Man cannot live by bread alone, but by the words uttered by the voice, the breath of God. It's the holy breath. We cannot live without that. And that is the black hole state. It's the absence of that light, which is the self and which is the meaning. And there were many attempts to intrude in Jung's work. The technology is not the new myth of humanity. Technology is going outside of the human story. We will continue with the updates because it is alarming. We need a movement to reverse what is happening. And I have started long ago using Facebook and YouTube as the true teaching instruments. If you ask me, I think even in this last documentary called Social Dilemma, I think they're even afraid of the social media because of its power. And with that, I don't mean that there is a lot of wrong use of it, but it is a very, very powerful instrument, and this is where we will keep you and have been keeping you abreast of the unfoldings and what is happening. We are bringing out a video soon on, it's called the Controlled Opposition Agenda, which is how people are kept in a state of opposition and like that locked outside of themselves. So please look out for that the coming days, and we continue to provide you with updates on the meaning, the real inner standing of things. Thank you very much.